This week's Parsha Chukat starts off with a description of the preparation of the ashes of the red heifer, the para aduma. The Torah tells us that adding azov, hyssop, is part of the preparation of the ashes. We previously learned that hyssop was used as part of the original Korban Pesach in Egypt and as part of the purification process of the Mitzorah from Tzarat. Since there is already a precedent for using hyssop as part of a purification process, it should only be natural that hyssop could be used by another purification process. For instance, the ashes of the red heifer in our parsha. But why was hyssop added to a purification process? Hyssop was a lowly bush. As such, hyssop represented humility and lowliness, meaning that the person who is undergoing a purification must approach it with humility. By the original Korban Pesach in Egypt, the hyssop was used to smear the blood of the paschal offering on the lintel and doorposts. This meant that the humility had to do with smearing the blood. Our sages in the Haggadah explain from Yechezkel chapter 16, V'omar lach b'damai chayi, v'omar lach b'damai chayi. You shall say through your blood you shall live. You shall say through your blood you shall live. It was through two bloods, the blood of the Brit Milah and the blood of the Korban Pesach, that we merited to be redeemed. The hyssop by the Korban Pesach, therefore, represented the humility of listening to and following God, even when it was dangerous to do so. The hyssop was also used as part of the purification process of the Mitzorah. The person stricken with tzarat was humiliated. He or she was sent out of the camp or the population center to be in solitary. The Torah describes how the Mitzorah must wear torn clothes, have unkempt hair, and would be preceded with the calling of Tameh Tameh wherever the person might go. So the hyssop to the purification process represented the humility due to the shame of having been stricken with tzarat and shunned by the community as a result. But by the para aduma, what humility was associated with purifying someone who touched or dealt with a dead body? Most of the time, a person was exposed to the dead either by accident or as part of a loving kindness, a gmilat chesed, to bury or pay their last respects to the person. So even though the ashes of the red heifer was the purification process, what humility was there that required hyssop to be a part of the process? Even though a person becomes tameh due to the death of someone else, death is something that we can't escape. Every person born is destined to die at some point. As such, when a person becomes tameh due to coming in contact with a dead body, a person needs to have the humility to recognize their limitations. As such, when undergoing purification, the hyssop is added to remind us that we do have limits, to recognize that we are living within boundaries, for some greater and for others less. But recognizing that we have limits does not mean that we should stay still and do nothing. To the contrary, it means that we are to maximize what we can do within those boundaries. And many times, to our surprise, even with our limitations, we can actually go much further than we had first realized. And that's what adding the hyssop to the preparation of the ashes teaches us. To recognize that we have boundaries, but through those boundaries, we can also strive to be like another ingredient added to the preparation of the ashes, to be as strong and big as a cedar tree. Shabbat Shalom.